Alright guys, I'm going to make a tier list today. So the tier list is going to be on the new expansion, what decks are good and how strong the classes are. And so it's still like the first week of the new expansion, but things are starting to settle down. The best decks are starting to be kind of figured out. But it's still a bit early, so this is just my early thoughts about the expansion. You know, there could be a new tech that somebody finds later down the line. But this is going to be what the win rates say so far about what class is doing the best and what class is struggling a bit. So so the categories are S, A, B, C, and D. S being really strong, like having over a 50% win rate. They're going to be winning most of the games overall. A is like a little bit above 50% win rate, so they'll be winning most games, but not all. B is about either a 50 or below, so most of the decks are kind of averaging out, not too strong, just kind of middle of the pack. C are like decks under 50%, but there's still a chance that you could win with them. And then D are just like below 40%. You're just like kind of trolling playing them. So let's start off with the first class being Demon Hunter. So in the new expansion, Demon Hunter got some relic cards, which at first glance I thought were going to be decent, but after playing them, they're pretty bad. I really wanted to make a deck list with them because I got a lot of his cards, but it's not very good. It's sitting like at a 35% win rate, and I've tried making it work, and it's pretty hard. So Demon Hunter is kind of struggling right now. His other deck is Fell Demon, which is still at like a 47% win rate, which isn't too bad, but because we're still early on into the expansion, there's so many like high win rate decks that it kind of pushes it down. So I would say Demon Hunter right now. Also, the Death Rattle Demon Hunter is also sitting like at 47. I would say he's like at a solid C. He's not too bad. You could win some games with him. Maybe not with the new cards because they're pretty bad. I guess a 4 mana 7/7 isn't that crazy after all. But he's not doing too great right now. He needs a little bit of help. Hopefully they buff some heroes because he needs a bit of it. Druid, I've been messing with this class. So I released a video. If you guys seen it, you guys could go check it out. I make a deck build of a combo ramp druid. It's seen a little bit more play. It has decent control game. It's good against the control decks, but it has about a 50% win rate. So it's doing decent. There's also the Celestial Alignment Druid, which also sits about like a 50% win rate. So Druid has like an average win rate dex, which is pretty fair. Though it struggles really hard against Aggro right now, which is one of the biggest threats in the format. It has like a 30% win rate against Aggro. But I think if the Aggro matchup comes down a bit, Druid probably see a lot more play. But right now, I think I'm going to put him at a B. He's a solid class. You could win games with him, but you have a tough matchup against Aggro, which is a big part of the current meta right now. There's a lot of Aggro decks out there. Hunter is probably the strongest it's been in a while. It's like, well, I guess Quest Hunter has been good for a bit, but like, there's like 3 really good Hunter decks. Like, you could build Hunter like 3 different ways and just have above 50% win rate with this deck. Like, Beast Hunter is crazy. Face Hunter is also crazy. Quest is like above 51% win rate, but it's still like good enough. It's better than like most of the stuff like these 2 other classes are doing. So, and he also Face Hunter right now has a 56 or 58% win rate. He's like pushing almost 60. So I'm gonna put Hunter in S tier right now, just because you could like go 3 different builds with this, so you never know where you're going against until like they drop something. And then well, I guess if you place this quest, you kind of know right away. but like Beast and Aggro look very similar, so it's hard to tell. But Hunter is doing really well right now. I think he's definitely sitting as one of the best classes in the format. So he's definitely S tier right now. Mage is also doing really good. Mage has 3 really good decks as well, being a Big Spell Mage, Mech Mage, and the new Skeleton or Volatile Mage, whatever you want to call it. They're both sitting pretty well above 50% win rate. Mech being the highest. Uh, she almost all her decks are sitting above 50%, though she's not as high as Hunter. Though she still does very well. Mage is sitting pretty nice in the meta right now. Like you could play whatever you want in Mage. You could play a control deck. You could play a aggro deck. You could play a mid range deck. It's just all good. So I think Mage, even though she's good, there's a couple classes that sit on top of her. So I'm gonna put her at A. You can maybe argue that she's also an S, but the thing is, like, Hunter has like a 58% win rate. Mage is like at a 54, which is still pretty strong, but as you go down the line, you'll see why I'm saying it's kind of mid, because 54 for some reason is just kind of almost middle of the pack. Paladin as well. He's also has two okay decks. His mech deck is really good, but his pure deck, like pure holy paladin, both of those are both kind of like B with druid. But his mech deck is still like at a 54% win rate, which is really nice. So you have 3 decent decks in this one as well. So it's sitting about the same as Mage, maybe a little bit lower though. I would say Mage is high A, but Mech Paladin's definitely really strong as well. So they're like pretty even as it sits right now. But I would say you have a lot stronger decks in the Mage class than the like Holy and Holy and the other deck are just a bit weaker. Priest has like one good deck right now, but it's pretty strong, so I kind of have a hard place to put him. He's sitting at, so it's Naga Priest sitting at like a 54% win rate. I haven't played too much, like I've only played a couple of them, so it's kind of hard to judge this. I have played Value Priest, but I've won like every time against it because it's not very good. Like the new cards they got aren't that great, except for like the stuff that goes into the Naga deck, which is sitting pretty nice. So I'm gonna put this at bottom of A. They're all sitting like at a 54% win rate. So when you see Priest, it's like always gonna be well, it might not always be Naga. It could be Value, but Value is kind of weak right now, so it's almost like it's not very good. Oh, Quest Priest is also decent. It's sitting like a low 50% win rate, but I'd say it's a little bit stronger than Druid, but not as strong as these two for sure. But it's still pretty strong. The Naga deck is seeing some gameplay, so we'll have to see as it's branching out. But I think he'll sit at bottom of A for now. Rogue sadly is in a very awkward position. I've tried Miracle Rogue like I tried at my best to make Miracle Rogue work, but like it has the same problem with Druid where the game is too quick right now for it to work. So as much as I want Miracle Rogue to work, it's very bad. Death Rattle with the Bomb Rogue is okay, but it sits like below 50. It's like a 47% win rate, something like that. And then the other rogue, I think it's like Imposter Rogue or something, is also like a 47. Like, so you could win some games, maybe not with Miracle Rogue. I mean, you could try it. You could, but like you might lose most of your games. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty hard to do. So I'm gonna put this at like a C. It has like the same spot as like Demon Hunter, where it has like some okay decks, like you could win some games, but you're gonna be struggling against some of the current decks. Warlock is also doing pretty good. It has one decent control deck, being about 50% win rate, and then one really strong aggro deck. If you guys haven't seen, Imp Warlock is pretty crazy. So I'm gonna just drop him in S tier right now. I think this is probably one of the strongest decks in the format. Like I would even like throw him over Hunter, though. Like he only has like I guess he has 2 decks that are decent. But overall, Warlock is really strong right now. It just it does so much. With the just the early presence, and then like you could drop the Rafam later on, or you could drop like the 3 mana, is it 3 mana Imp, the Infuse Imp? I forget what his name is right now, but that summons 3 minions. I think it's 4 mana, but it's just a crazy deck, and then it has card draw on top of it. It's just one of the strongest decks of the format so far. So Warlock is S tier for sure. It's almost hitting a 60% win rate. So a lot of the time, it's just beating down all the control decks because it's too fast. So that's why Druid's down here, because it has like Warlock has like a 70% win rate against Druid. So it's just not a good matchup. And then even like some of these decks still get beaten down by Warlock, so Warlock is just sitting pretty high up right now, right next to the other aggro deck being Hunter. Those two are just like side by side on how strong they are. Warrior, sadly, did not get anything really good this expansion. I was really hoping Warrior would see something other than Pirate Warrior. Kind of tired of playing Pirate Warrior, because I love Warrior, but yeah, they didn't get anything. The new expansion gave them some new like enraged stuff, but it doesn't really do much. It runs out of steam too quickly. There's nothing to get back any resources. Quest Warrior is alright. It's sitting at a 50% win rate. So if you want to play more Quest Warrior, there you go. It's a like middle of the pack deck. You'll win some games, but not all of them. It's not the best aggro deck right now. That would be one of these two. You could even argue like Mech or Mech Paladin's probably better. Well, it is better, but like a better aggro deck, it's hard to tell. I would put it like at a B. He has one decent deck that's like about middle of the pack, just like Druid. I mean, Druid has 2 decent decks, so I'll put him on above Warrior. But Warrior has like one decent aggro deck right now. Yeah, sadly they didn't get anything good off this expansion, so that's where that stands. Shaman, last class. So Shaman actually is doing very well this expansion. It's probably would be, I would say, maybe the next S tier class. It's definitely, so the reason why I think he's S tier or high A, definitely higher than Mage right now, is that he has an extremely good control deck still, with the freezing mechanic. The new evolve deck is also doing pretty well. The new token deck is horrible, so don't do that. But the Murloc deck is also doing very well. So you have a very good control deck, you have a very good mid-range deck, and you have a really good aggro deck. Murlocs are at like a 54, so it's automatically like already higher, about the same height as these two. Control is like almost a 58. It's like at a 56. So you could say he's kind of like the same thing with Jaina, where he sits almost, I think maybe he's like, the thing is he has some really strong decks, but I don't know, these two just seem like they're just bombs. But Control Warlock or Shaman is pretty strong. They could steal games out of you like right away. So I'd say these are, and the different decks that it could play as well. Like Control, Aggro, and Evolve are just completely different decks, but they all are doing very, very well right now. Um, just because he has currently the best control deck, I'm gonna put him at I guess low S tier. He's probably the weakest out of these. I'll probably put this like this. This is probably how it sits currently. Um, as the new expansion rolls out. If they do any buffs, nerfs so far, they're probably gonna nerf some of these classes. Hopefully, buff some of these lower ones. I'm not a big fan of Demon Hunter, but their new stuff is like not doing anything. Rogue I love, but also Miracle Rogue is pretty bad because of these big aggro guys being so oppressive. So it's pretty hard to see. If it was a more control-oriented format, you would probably see this come up, and Druid probably pop up a bit more. Warrior definitely needs some more support because the only thing you could do right now is just pirate stuff. Alright, but you know, these are just my kind of opinions and just kind of like overall stats of what they are sitting at right now. This could change though. Somebody could find a spicy tech in one of these decks and it could change the format. It's hard to tell. It's still kind of early, you know, people are still trying things out. But this is my current thoughts of the format. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments. You know, maybe you guys think you know, Druid should be a bit higher, or maybe you think Shaman should be a bit lower, or you think maybe another class should be a bit higher. But you know, just give me your guys' thoughts, opinions. This is my current tier list of the new format. But I'll let you guys on that one. Peace.